Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm super. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
I feel like we just did this.
You do? Well, It's funny because it's the beginning of a new week, and we're back in the saddle again. I'm dusting things off and hope I remember how to use all this stuff in here. I do have a guest coming up later in the program, Harold Pollack. He's the author of a book called The Index Card, and it's a really cool idea. It's financial advice that is so simple, it fits on an index card.
Okay, so if it fits on an index card, why is the book so big?
Well, it explains everything that you're putting on the index card in great detail.
Okay.
To make the index card make sense.
All right.
But it's a cool book. It's a cool concept, and I'm excited to chat with him. Hey, take a listen to this. A British safari park is asking visitors to stop wearing animal prints. You know why?
Why?
They say it's confusing the animals.
Oh, really?
Some lady with a zebra striped shirt, and like, hey, look at that zebra. Looks kind of like a lady. I'm not sure what's going on. Anyway,
I don't see what the problem is unless the animal's trying to mount
I'm not
the
sure
people.
what's going on exactly. But anyway, coming up, we've got a lot of special things going on today. We'll tell you what in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. First of all, it's Martin Luther King Day today, so got that going. Some folks get the day off today. Hot Heads Chili Day today.
Hot Heads Chili.
I don't know what that is. Apparently really hot chili. National Day of Service, Thesaurus Day, and I'm sure there's probably another word I could use for that, but I don't know what it would be.
I haven't used a thesaurus
Nor
in
have I.
years.
I haven't either. But isn't that a book that you look up other words?
For other yes.
Otherwise, my joke wouldn't have made any sense. National Crowd Feed Day, Pooh Day for Winnie the Pooh, and Robert E. Lee Day, and it's National Sanctity of Human Life Day, so pro-life day.
Are you sure that's for Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah, it says Pooh, and then in parentheses, Winnie the Day. So Winnie the Pooh Day. So got a lot of stuff going on today. So if you get the day off today and you're celebrating, have a good time, and just remember that we're not all getting the day off. Some of us are here.
If you celebrate Pooh
slaving
Day,
away.
please celebrate responsibly.
If you celebrate what?
Pooh Day.
Winnie the Pooh Day. Oh, bother. Coming up in a bit, we've got a story from Michigan City. We'll share that after this.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Michigan City, Indiana, 11-year-old Carmen Schutt is lucky to be alive after a pickup truck ran over his head.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Cameron and his 13-year-old brother. Cameron's 11. His brother's 13. They were helping their grandfather chop and load wood. The boys were sitting on the tailgate of their grandpa's truck.
Oh my gosh.
When he began backing down his gravel driveway. Cameron either fell or jumped. Grandpa said he first thought he ran over a piece of wood until he got out of the truck and saw Cameron lying face down in the gravel.
How awful.
Cameron was rushed to the hospital where they said tests revealed he had a slight hairline skull fracture. He was released the next day, and the only lingering effects seemed to be nothing more than slight headache.
Oh, my gosh.
Grandpa Ron said maybe he's got an exceptionally hard head. So that is just
Or he's
crazy.
got a very dedicated guardian angel.
Yeah. He got his head, he's 11 years old, got his head run over by Grandpa's pickup.
Oh, my gosh, that is insane.
There was a story that we watched.
You know how awful you would feel as a grandparent knowing that you had done that?
Well, we watched a story where some kids were robbing their grandpas. They were in there. He didn't realize it was his family, but they were in his gas station. He came down suspecting robbers, and everybody took off. And there was, they hid in the ditch, and when he pulled his truck up and opened the door, the kid looked up, and the door hit him in the head and, scalped him. Ugh. So, and they were tough. He got it all put back on. Everything was fine, but the grandpa felt awful, and it was his own grandson. He's like, why didn't you just tell me it was you? So this one here, this grandpa ran over his grandson's head. So these grandpas in their pickup trucks, they should be outlawed. Dangerous grandpas in their pickups. I'm just kidding if you're a grandpa in a pickup. I know there are a lot of responsible grandpas in pickups, so I'm not going to try to blame all grandpas in all pickups.
Okay, that's done. We're done with. We don't do PC on this show.
I'm just being silly. Coming up, we've got your brain on drugs, and you know this story is true because you heard it on the radio.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. Have you ever had a headache that was so bad you felt like somebody put nails in your head?
Yes.
An Oregon man was suffering from a terrible headache, and he went to the hospital. Guess what?
He had a nail in his head.
He had 12 nails in his head.
It's not about the nail.
Yeah. He had 12 nails. 12 nails.
God.
And he had put them there himself. The man at first told doctors that he had a, quote, nail gun accident. It wasn't until later that the patient admitted that he was using drugs at the time of his nailing. Somehow the guy, in remarkably good condition when he got out of the hospital, said that surgeons were able to remove all the nails. They used needle nose pliers because the nail heads did not penetrate the skull. Oh, man. I have a friend that nailed through his hand, but I don't hang out with people who nail into their heads.
That is crazy.
And if you've nailed into your head, I'm sure it was an accident.
Don't know where this headache is coming from.
12.
It's probably the nails.
It's not about the
it's
nail.
Not about
Heidi.
the nail.
And if you don't know what that is, you got to go to YouTube and just search for It's Not About the Nail. And you'll laugh and laugh.
It is so funny.
All right, coming up, we've got our moment of duh. That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Modern art. I like art. I'm a big fan of art, but some art just doesn't make any sense to me.
I like modern art.
Well, California artist Trevor Cornelius wanted to draw a portrait of his own legs wrapped in chains. He went to his favorite sketching spot, an abandoned mine shaft about 5 miles north of the Mojave Desert, out in Bakers, California. To ensure authenticity, Trevor chained his legs together so he could accurately render this picture he was sketching. While the picture may have been accurate, his memory was not. After completing the drawing, he forgot to bring the key to unlock these restraints. He was forced to hop for 12 hours through the desert back to town. Yeah. On the bright side, Deputy Ryan Ford, who helped him cut the chain, said, "It was a pretty good drawing." I'm so sorry for laughing.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's terrible. We're terrible people for laughing at that. I love the officer. It's a pretty good drawing.
Wow.
Oh, well, there you go. You got that going for you. Coming up, we have your scoop of the day. That's on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your scoop of the day. A semi-truck carrying 42,000 pounds of pizza dough and flour crashed on a highway in Arizona.
Yikes.
If only that happened in the summertime, the thing would have cooked and they would have all been able to eat pizza on the sidelines. But apparently that didn't happen. 22 villagers in northern Thailand have been found to be over 100 years of age.
Whoa.
So there's 22 of them there. The Centurions are all residents of the same province. I'm not even going to try to say the name of it. They only eat vegetables. So they're saying, hey, maybe there's something to this whole vegetables only. You live to be over 100 years old, or at least it feels that way.
I would be so skinny because I don't like very many vegetables.
Yeah. Hey, if you're thinking of buying a house that happens to be for sale, it's called the Playboy Mansion. You ever heard of that place?
Let's buy it.
It's up for sale. It's on the market.
How much?
But buyer beware. There is a condition of the sale that his current owner gets to live there until he dies.
I'd live with Hugh.
If you bought the house right now, Hugh Hefner would have to live either with you or you'd say you can stay there till you croak.
I'd live with Hugh.
I wouldn't.
In a house that big. You could put him in his own wing.
He's a creepy old dude. I really wouldn't want to. Have you seen...
How much do they want for it? Does it say?
It doesn't say.
I'm
Whatever it
interested.
is, pretty sure it's out of our budget.
Is the real estate agent on there? I'm going to make a call.
No, you're not. What are you guys qualified for? $1,000 maybe? Would you loan me $1,000 if you?
My dad and Hugh Hefner would have a blast their last days just living in the Playboy Mansion.
I can only imagine. Have you seen the TV ads that show people talking about how they send their gold in and they get cash back, this cash for gold? Turns out those guys are getting in all kinds of trouble. People are getting cash for their gold, but it's pennies on the dollar. And they're saying if you have gold to sell, do it locally at a local store that's been around for a long time so you know that you're going to be okay. Don't go to the new guy that just popped up and says, hey, I'll buy your gold. What if he's not here? Or what if he doesn't pay you? Anyway, what I'm saying is...
Or what if he's a criminal?
Well, I'm just saying, these cash for gold people are getting themselves in all kinds of trouble. It turned into quite the scam. A guy in England, Nottingham. Have you been to Nottingham?
I have not been to Nottingham.
I have not. Nor have I. Well, there's a dude there that has the biggest collection of Smurf memorabilia in the whole world.
Oh, cool.
I should see if I can connect with this guy. Look, right over there on my shelf.
I didn't know the Smurfs were ever big in
Apparently,
England.
Nottingham. 1,200 items he's got. Recent poll says Congress has a pretty poor approval rating. Guess what their percentage is now?
Like -4?
No, it's a little better than that. It's 8%.
Oh, wow.
86% disapproval rating. And then there must be some people that don't know what they think, I guess. Just how unpopular is Congress? The same poll says that the Wall Street is more popular. Zombies are more popular. Hipsters are more popular.
Ew.
All of those more popular than Congress. However, there are some things that are less popular than Congress. Congress narrowly beat the Ebola virus. Congress is just a little more popular than twerking. And Congress is more popular than Vladimir Putin. So, there you go.
Really? See, I like Vlad.
I don't think you would like him as a leader. She just likes the fact that he's like, you know what? I'll do whatever I feel like doing. Heidi has that same attitude. All right, let's head to Australia, where a gang of would-be burglars tried to steal a cash machine inside of a shopping center. First, they forced open the doors of the mall to get into the ATM. So far, so good. Then there was a big heavy-duty cash machine, and it required special tools to get inside. The burglars thought they were pretty well prepared. Before going into the mall, they had stolen a truck with some welding equipment. They dragged the welder inside. They went to work on the ATM, and that's when things started to go sour. They forgot money is flammable. So while they were torching open this ATM, they burned all the money up on the inside. So they're using
that was a bad idea.
Blowtorch to chop a hole in the side, a big welder to cut a hole in the side. Well, they burned up all the money, so they didn't get anything other than arrested. So that's kind of dumb. Ready for strange law?
I am.
A law still exists in Nevada that makes it illegal to hang somebody if they shoot your dog on your property. No, I'm sorry, it makes it legal. You can legally hang somebody if they shoot your dog on your property in Nevada.
I would hope so.
So if somebody shoots your dog, you can hang them legally.
If somebody shot my dog, they'd have...
That'd be a bad deal.
Actually, I'd shoot them back. I wouldn't hang anybody, but I'd shoot.
Well, it's a strange law. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. We've got a special guest on the line right now. We're going to be visiting with the author, one of the authors of the book, The Index Card, Why Personal Finance Doesn't Have to Be Complicated, written by Helaine Olen and Harold Pollack. And we have Harold on the line with us now. Harold, how are you, sir?
Very well. Nice to be with you today.
Well, we're super excited to have you on the program. And this is a really neat book. I actually have a copy of it here in front of me, and I flipped through this. This is a very easy read. And the really cool thing is, it's got the index card right in the back, so you can actually, when you go through this and say, this is a great idea, you can cut this index card out and use it and actually help with implementing the ideas in the book, can't you?
I think that putting this up on your refrigerator so that you're sort of reminded of some of the basic things that we suggest may be the most valuable thing in the book, although we think that we give some useful advice in there, too.
Now, there are a lot of people that have advice on personal finance, and sometimes it gets complicated, and there are some people that, you know, they give you this great advice, but it's too much to digest, and you just can't really do much with it. With your index card concept, you really boil it down and make it super simple. Should we maybe go through and talk about what's on the index card? Can we do that?
Sure.
So what is the first thing that's on the index card from the book, The Index Card?
The first thing is it says strive to save 10 to 20% of your income. Now, this is the hardest thing, by the way, in the book. And I used in my original index card when I first wrote it, it said save 20% of your income. And I got a bunch of emails from people that were sort of over the forum. Dear Professor Pollack, I'm a 28-year-old single mom. You just told me to save 20% of my income, blank you, or something like that. And I would be like, I get that. I have nothing bad to say about that. I'm not offended in the least. At different times in your life, this is a heavy lift or a light lift. But saving is absolutely the foundation of everything, in order to have a financial plan. And so the first thing we go through is basically how do you figure out where your money is going, and how do you have a sensible way, not to go on a financial starvation diet, but to really focus your spending on the things that are the most important and valuable to you, and also where you're able to put things aside. So saving 10 to 20% of your income is a way to just get a foundation.
Number 2 on the list I see is pay your credit card balance in full every month. Why is that important?
For my students, that's the single most important thing on this whole card. A lot of my students will tell me things like, I've been living with my boyfriend for 3 months, and I've never let him look at my Visa card balance. And, credit cards are, on the one hand, they are your worst enemy because they're such high interest rates that they can really snowball, and they're so easy to use. On the other hand, they're your best friend, that if you have credit card debt, the average interest rate on a credit card is about 14%.
Yeah.
So every dollar that you spend down on your credit card, you're getting a guaranteed risk-free, tax-free return of 14%. Warren Buffett doesn't get that.
No.
So the first thing you want to do is pay your credit card in full every month, and just do, if you have lots of credit cards, pay the minimum on all of them except for the one that's the high interest rate, and then chip away at that one. And that's just fundamental. Your high interest debt is really can really snowball, and so you got to get a handle on that.
Number 3 on the list here: max out your 401k and other tax advantage savings accounts. Now, when you say max out, what do you mean by that?
Put as much in as you possibly can up to the legal limits, if you can. And the legal limits are pretty high. If you're putting $20,000 a year into your 401k, you're good for you. You don't go. The great thing about your 401k is, first of all, there's some immediate tax advantages to putting money in. Your employer very often will match it. A lot of people leave money on the table that their employer would be willing to put in to match their contributions. And it's also automatic, so you don't have to think about it. You're not tempted to spend the money. Usually your 401k, the people who advise your 401k accounts and run it, have very stringent legal regulation, and they typically have lower fees than investments you can get other ways. There's lots of reasons why your 401k or its equivalent, if you're in a nonprofit, there's something called a 403b, which is the same thing. That should be really the main pillar of your retirement saving.
Definitely.
There's some other things you could do, like a Roth IRA and so on, but your 401k is kind of the real bedrock of where you're going to do most of your saving.
I'm looking at the card here. Rule number 4, never buy or sell individual stocks. Now, why is that you don't want to buy individual stocks? Don't
be the person who's trying to figure out, is Chrysler really offering the next innovative generation of minivans, or I'm going to bet a chunk of my retirement on whether the Android or the iPhone is going to turn out to be the better long-term bet. There's a huge research literature that documents one very simple fact, which is that ordinary people are really, 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 really bad at buying stocks. My favorite study looked at stocks that people sold and then compared the performance of those stocks to the stocks that people bought with the money they got from the stocks that they sold. And as you can guess, the stocks that people sold outperformed the stocks that people bought with the money that they got, after they sold those stocks. And it's not just the guys in their basement in pajamas sort of doing wild day trading either. Whenever you go and buy a stock, the person who's sort of selling that stock to you is effectively a Wall Street professional who does this as their full-time job. They have more training than you do. They have more information than you do. There's just no reason to get into that, and you can just free up a ton of your time if you just never buy or sell any individual stocks or watch any TV show that's telling you how you could pick them or anything like that. completely stay away from that.
Well, and that kind of ties into some of these other rules, and I wish we had time to go through all. We're not going to be able to make it through all of them, but rule number 6, it does say, make your financial advisor commit to the fiduciary standard. Now, what does that mean exactly, the fiduciary standard?
The fiduciary standard is the idea that your advisor has a legal obligation to maximize your financial well-being. And if there's any conflict between his own commissions and your finances, he has to decide it in favor of your finances. Most investment professionals that people deal with, if you say go into a storefront from any brokerage house that you're familiar with, they operate on something different that's less stringent called the suitability standard. I have to offer you things that are suitable to your situation. And here's one way that difference shows up. Suppose that I talk to you and I realize, an inexpensive index fund is basically appropriate for you. And they just buy sort of, say, the whole stock market and just, try to have you do the market average. That's usually the best investment for people. Well, there's 2 funds that advisor has access to. One is just a really cheap index fund that may be like 0.1% per year in fees. The other one has fees that are like 10 times that, but he gets a better commission for that second one. Under the suitability standard, he is entirely entitled to give you that second one and not even tell you that first one was in the mix. And not only is he entitled to do that, but there's a lot of evidence that that's in fact what many or most advisors actually do when they're faced with these types of conflicts.
That's a very good rule then. And there's some other rules that deal with when to buy a home and insurance. I see we're almost out of time, but I want to make sure while I've got Harold on the line, where can we find the book, The Index Card, Why Personal Finance Doesn't Have to Be Complicated? Where is this available right now?
The best thing you can probably do is just Google Harold Pollack, The Index Card. You'll see lots of stuff. It's on Amazon and it's on Barnes & Nobles, and if you go into your local bookstore, it's going to be there. I hope it's helpful to people. I'm weirdly passionate about the subject, and I just think that with a little bit more attention and being methodical about it, anybody can really improve their financial life. And, for me, I started when I was 40. I hope a lot of your listeners start sooner.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. I know it's going to help some folks because it's already helped me. I flipped through it. It's a great little book. I've got a copy of it right here in front of me. The Index Card, Why Personal Finance Doesn't Have to Be Complicated. Find it in your favorite local bookstore, or, of course, it's available at Amazon as well. And our guest today has been Harold Pollack, one of the authors. Thank you again, Harold. We appreciate your time today.
Thanks so much.
And thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by CarsForSale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at CarsForSale.com.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
According to the Austin Chronicle, the Mary Tyler Moore Show airs somewhere in the world every hour of the day. You a fan of the Mary Tyler Moore Show?
Not at all. Never was.
I've seen episodes of it, and I've always thought it was good. I don't watch it. There's a lot of other shows that I do really, really like. Hey, a father in Central... Oh, I guess I forgot to say. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A father in Central China has been refused permission to name his son At. Not the letters A-T, but just the at sign.
Yeah, I would hope so.
There's a rule in China that says all names must be capable of being translated into Mandarin. There's no way to translate that, so you don't get that one. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
You can lower your blood pressure with 3 to 4 10-minute walks a day, according to the University at Indiana. They reported that. So 3 to 4 10-minute walks a day. That's 30 to 40 minutes of walking, and it'll lower your blood pressure.
There we go.
Probably lower your weight, too. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Music has been known to improve relationships. It can strengthen a couple's bond and relieve emotional tension. So a little bit of music, you'll be good to go. Guess what?
What's that?
We've got some of that coming your way in a bit. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Are you an impatient pain in the neck? Let's find out. Answer true or false to each one of these. Do you think everyone is entitled to make a mistake?
Yeah.
Okay, so you get a point. You would never dream of peeking at your Christmas presents ahead of time. Is that true or false?
That's true.
So you'd never peek ahead?
I would not peek.
So you get another point. So hold up 2 fingers. Keep track here, Heidi.
Okay.
Your home is crammed with paintings, needlework, and other examples of your favorite hobby. True or false?
False.
Okay, so you don't get a point. You prefer newspapers, magazines, and watching TV to reading a book. True or false?
False.
If you answered false, give yourself a point. So you get a point. Your garage or basement is cluttered with unfinished projects you started and forgot about. True or false?
False for me, true
False.
for you.
False. Yeah, that's true. False for you, so give yourself another point. If you love crossword puzzles and other games that tax the mind.
I do. I do a
True.
crossword
Give
puzzle
yourself
every
another
morning.
point.
Okay.
You grind your teeth in rush hour traffic. True or false?
False.
If false, give yourself a point. You're doing really good at this, I think. You play musical checkout counters when waiting in line at the supermarket, constantly moving to the shortest line.
False, but that would be true for you.
If you answered false, give yourself a point. You never exceed the speed limit when driving. True or false?
True.
That is true for you. Again, false for me. We're kind of opposites. You get another point. You interrupt people during their conversations. True or false?
False.
All right, you get another point. So it says 0 to 4 points. That's kind of where I'm at. You tend to be impatient. Okay, I'm not going to even read the rest of that. 5
No,
to
read
7.
it. I want to hear your diagnosis.
So ask yourself whether saving a minute or two is really worth hurting the feelings of others. I don't hurt people's feelings. Start enjoying life a little more. Extreme impatience can have a basis in physical problems, anemia, vitamin deficiency, poor sleeping and eating habits, and probably make you read bad too. I threw that last time. 5 to 7 points. You're even-tempered, good self-control. Heidi knocked it out of the park. Let's read yours because we're about out of time. 8 to 10 points. You are extremely patient and don't demand instant gratification at the expense of others. You enjoy completing every job. You're very tolerant, almost too tolerant, so guard yourself against people who might take advantage of your good nature, Heidi.
That is not me at all. That's not even close.
Does that sound more like me, though?
So this study is clearly flawed.
Either that or you're just a very unique individual. All right, coming up, it's time to eat. We'll tell you what in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Headline, it's time to eat. Why are Americans so fat? It has something to do with eating. Really? You ever wonder why 50% of all Americans are considered overweight? According to a study from the University of Minnesota, it's because of the increasing numbers of food brands available to them. There's more food available than ever before in the history of the world, Heidi.
Yeah.
Another reason is that Americans eat out more than they're eating larger portions when they're eating out, too. As a result, for every dollar spent in households on food, 20% went to eating out in the 70s. Well, now it's 38%. I'll bet it's even higher than that.
I bet it's higher than that. I bet it's way higher than that.
For our household, for sure.
Yep.
But it's just so darn good.
Well, and you get so busy. It's when you get off of work at 8:30 at night, last thing you want to do is still go home and try to cook a meal. So you're going to grab something.
Done with all the extracurricular activities and all that. So I can understand why. Anyway, those are the statistics, so love them or
That's
don't.
true.
Coming up, slow and steady wins the race. We'll tell you what that means, I hope, in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
Remember that whole tortoise and the hare story?
Yes.
The tortoise kind of went slow and steady, and then the hare kind of ran through, and the tortoise was the winner in the end, right?
Right.
I think every copy of that, he's always the winner. Well, that same concept is maybe being used in colleges now. Many college kids now take a 5 or 6 year plan to graduate rather than the 4 that most people do. Stuart Baldwin took a little bit longer than that, a whole lot longer than that. The 70-year-old bookshop owner in the UK just graduated after 28 years of college courses. Stuart Baldwin has not only collected his BS, Bachelor of Science, he's also been given a dubious distinction this week for receiving a Guinness Book of World Records certificate for the longest time recorded to complete a degree. He started on a Science Foundation course with the Open University when they opened in 1971. He said studying was a hobby, and he didn't want to end. Now he plans to tackle a doctorate at breakneck speed. There's an 8-year limit on that. So he says, I'll be in no danger of breaking my own record. He potentially could start college the year one of his professors was born. So there's one of the professors He actually started in 1971. That's when he started college.
Wow.
He just graduated. One of his professors was born that year. That's nuts. Anyway, whatever it takes. Coming up, we're going to talk about some fun stuff. And mom's favoritism still matters. We'll tell you why.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
When you were a kid, did you ever feel like mom favored a sibling, your brother, over you? It's like, oh, you're always on his side. Was that a thing?
No, my mom was a good mom. She was pretty fair.
So she loved you both the same?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I think so. My brother might feel differently. I don't know. Maybe he would say,
That's what you'd say. You're always her favorite. Well, when moms repeatedly single out one adult child more than another, when for praise or for a slap on the wrist, she's unwittingly contributing to her offspring's depression. Moms, be careful. According to recently released research, perceived favoritism from one's mother still matters to a child's psychological well-being, even after they've been living on their own outside mom's house for a long, long time. Study researcher Carl Pilmer, apparently a mama's boy, at Cornell University, he says it doesn't matter whether you're the chosen child or not. The perception of unequal treatment has a damaging effect for all siblings. Even mom's favorite could take a hint. It says, interestingly, being the favorite child has some serious drawbacks. They say the favored child feels guilty that he or she experiences negative relationships with their siblings who may be resentful. With older parents, favored children may be expected to provide more care and assistance for the parents, leading to more stress in their life, too.
Huh.
As for which child becomes mom's favorite, parents tend to prefer their oldest or their youngest, as opposed to people like me stuck in the middle. Of course, I'm never the favorite. Stuck in the middle. Children that are, like I said, the oldest or the youngest, they gravitate towards those children who are more similar to them in personal characteristics and values as well. So if you've got a kid that's cracking jokes and having fun, but you're real straight-laced and serious, that's probably not going to be your favorite.
Right.
So maybe that's my problem. I need to be a little more serious. I'd say your dad, whether he admits it or not, you're his favorite.
I don't know about that.
I think so. Does he admit that? Because I think you're the favorite, whether he admits it or not. Anyway, coming up
we're
here.
just close because we worked together and we're just closer.
Still
it's
do.
not that
Every Tuesday?
I'm his favorite. We're just,
You're his favorite. Coming up. Sorry to break the news to any other siblings out there. Heidi's the favorite. You knew that. Coming up, we've got some good news. That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We always try to wrap things up around here with something positive. And I think today, if we can do it right, we might be able to get two things positive. First, kids come home hungry after a long day at school, but there's a website called My Kids Adventures. They have some suggestions for giving snacks that they'll want and make it fun for them. It says here they have a lot of fun ideas like petrified pizza, yogurt mosaics, and edible wishing wands. So there's some fun little things that you can do that'll be a snack that your kiddos could eat. I don't think our kids would be into that, but they're too old for that.
Yeah, we've got one getting ready to go into the Navy. I don't think he'd really like me making a magic wand snack.
Here's a wand for you, son. You should wave this magic wand and make a wish.
Our daughter is a freshman in high school.
I wish you would treat me my own age. Hey, some more good news. The latest way to wake up in the morning, it's not with a hot cup of coffee that's boosting you with caffeine, but it's with your toothpaste. Caffeinated toothpaste.
Oh, good Lord.
Power Energy Toothpaste is without a new kind of toothpaste with the logo. What the heck? What is that line? Power Energy Toothpaste is out with a new kind of toothpaste with the logo, get a rush while you brush. There we go. I don't know what I was trying to say. Anyway, they're giving away free samples. PowerToothpaste.com.
Stupid.
You don't like that idea?
I know I candy coat things, but...
Get a rush while you brush. I think it sounds like a neat idea. If you're one that wakes up in the morning, you're like, oh, I just can't do anything until
You just like it because they're slogan rhymes.
I can't do anything till I get my cup of coffee. I need some caffeine. Well, do it when you brush your teeth
That's
first thing in the morning.
ridiculous.
Get a rush while you brush. I'm just expecting, some
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, something like that. I just saw he was in court the other day. I don't know what for.
I don't know what for.
Probably not for anything like this. But anyway, I think this would be a good time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Again, powertoothpaste.com. I think I'm going to check it out just to see. It's a free sample. Why not try it? Thanks for listening on a Monday.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio. What is the most churched state in the U.S. of A., Heidi? The state where more people go to church than any other state, like the percentage of people.
Ohio.
Wrong. Why would you guess Ohio?
They don't get near enough recognition. I was just throwing them a bone.
Yeah, well, no. 51% of Utah residents attend regular church services. Says, direct result, Utah's 59% Mormon population is probably I don't want to say to blame, but to thank for that. According to Charisma News, I didn't know that was a thing. Anyway, the next most frequent church attendee states are in the South. Mississippi, 47%. Alabama and Louisiana tie 46%. Arkansas, 45%. Now, who's the bottom of the list, Heidi? Which one of those states?
Ohio.
Which one of those states is filled with heathens out there? Come on, you heathens. It's not Ohio. I'm going to give you a hint.
Virginia?
No, but I'm glad at least you knew what I was holding my hands in a V shape. Vermont.
Oh.
Did you guess? Did you think that was a V or was it?
Yeah, I thought it was a V.
Okay. Forgot about Virginia.
That makes sense because when you pray, your hands are together. If they're not going to church.
I didn't even think of that. Well, only 17% of Vermont, not Virginia, only 17% of Vermont residents said they attend regular church services. So there you go. Interesting stuff. I don't know where we land in that. Study, but we do go to church on a very regular basis. I honestly, you know what? We didn't for a while. For a while, we kind of got away.
Years.
And I can tell you, since we've started going to church on a regular basis, I feel so much better about myself. I really do, and it's made a huge difference in our life. So, if you're struggling with life, maybe you check that out and reach out. We'll gladly invite you to join us at church. Hey, in a study among Americans in the workplace done in partnership with LeaderCast, Barna Group found that 2 in 5 people work for somebody they consider a bad leader, Heidi.
How many people are on our staff again?
2 in 5 people. No, I'm just kidding. When asked to attribute positive and negative characteristics to their supervisors, 40% of workers assigned at least 4 of the 6 negative attributes to their boss. Another 40% said their leaders display 1 to 3 of those negative attributes, classifying their leader as an average leader. In contrast, 1 in 5 workers assigned only positive attributes to their leaders, qualifying them as good bosses. Yeah, you brown nosers.
And those were all people going for a raise.
Yeah, I think my boss is great. Really? Yeah, he's awesome. He's really. Can he hear this? Is he here? Can you tell him I said that? I mean, he's awesome. Anyway, that's from Barna.org, B-A-R-N-A. I don't know who that is. I'm assuming some pollster kind of group. We got time for one more thing?
Sure.
I'm going to share this. Craig Glazier approached a 24-year-old man and kicked him and grabbed his bag. Yeah, wow. We have a crime in progress here, folks.
All right.
He apparently had spent some time planning the caper, as he had his faithful and loyal accomplice, Nicholas Sade, waiting in a vehicle. Sade, the wheelman, took his job seriously. Not only was he there to provide the timely means of escape, but he also used his vehicle directly in the commission of a crime because when the victim attempted to skedaddle, Sade drove up on the pavement to block the path of escape. With a smirk undoubtedly on his face, Glasser picked up his bootay and got in the car, nodded for Sade to burn rubber and get out of here. Well, the quick and clean getaway, except for the fact that they failed to notice there was a police helicopter hovering above.
Oh, my gosh.
And it was filming the entire assault. Glasser got 2 years, Sade got a year. Both ended up in the files of the criminally stupid. So, couldn't you hear a helicopter if it was hovering overhead?
Well, they probably assumed it was like going to the hospital or something.
I don't understand that. That sounds like quite the robbery they had. I got one more story I'm going to share, because what the heck? It's a Monday. Police say a woman who begged from a wheelchair was caught running from the scene of a crime on foot.
Oh, wow.
Monterrey, Mexico. Police spokesperson Helaine Robles said 30-year-old Ana Victoria Perez fled on foot after she and her husband allegedly threw a stone through a front window of a furniture store. Perez was a regular fixture along Main in Montgomery, or in Monterey, rather. I was going to say Montgomery. How do we get there? Regular fixture along Main Street there, asking for change for motorists, was, she said, in a wheelchair pushed by her hubby.
Wow.
They say the couple apparently planned to rob the furniture store, but they were scared off by a security guard. They've been charged with vandalism. Police arrested the couple when they returned to get the wheelchair. Again, she's been known for years to be, stuck in a wheelchair and begging money from people. And then when she broke this window, she jumped on feet and ran.
This is why when there are people that really are in need, they're ignored.
Apparently there was some sort of miracle that happened there, Heidi.
Because of horrible people like that.
Yeah, that's not good. It's going to do it for your bonus break. Here, you know what? Honestly, that was just, speaking of church, that was just brought up at our church this last week. They were talking about giving to others and helping, and I'm in a church group where they said, one of the guys said, I don't really do hardly anything anymore. I used to, but he said, I just feel like there's a lot of people working the system.
Yep, that's exactly right.
But
that's how I feel, too.
We had a phenomenal conversation about that, and here's what one of the guys in the group said. I thought it was brilliant. He said, you know what? Here's the thing. He said, if there's 100 people that need help, and you put on this program to help 100 people, and if there's even if 90% of them don't really need it, there's still 10% that do. And he said, even if 99% didn't really need it, there's still that 1% that do. He said, so you do it for that 1%, and you hope that the other 99%
But here's the problem. There's more than just 1% that do need the help, and because of all of the bad people that are taking advantage, the people that do truly need it don't have access to it.
Well, so there's nothing you can do about that. Just here's what I'm saying.
I think prison. I think if you find out that somebody has been abusing the system, they go to prison and they don't get out. Lock them up, throw away the key.
Quickly.
Well,
this
they're
bonus break
parasites.
is usually lighthearted.
Parasites.
It's usually such a fun break. Heidi's over here locking and loading. Let's go to... It's a war on vagrants. All right. Well, this is why you can never run for office.
You know what? This is why I would get elected.
Probably. In this climate? Yeah, probably. The weirder, crazier crap you say, the more people are like, I like that guy. We got two different candidates right now that I honestly think that no matter what they say, it's going to come out crazy sounding, and people just keep talking about how much they love those two, and one on each side of the aisle. And for those of you who know anything, you know exactly who I'm talking about. But with all of that, let's move on. Thank you so much for listening. The bonus break brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more on their website. You can see a fun video, learn all about it, be entertained, be informed all at the same time at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.